G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and let's get right into it. Is it possible to get over my resentment for my husband after he asked for a paternity test? My husband is 32 and I am 27. We got married 2 years ago and have been together for 6. 1 year ago, I fell pregnant and we had our daughter a few months ago. However, he has been very weird during these months. To note is that I am mixed. My dad is a white Spanish man, and my mum is a dark-skinned Latina. I am more light-skinned. However, many of my family members are really dark. So our daughter was born, and she's somewhat darker than me, and inherited our longer hair and sharp characteristics. She looks very much like my mum. My husband has not been very kosher with this. He kept making jokes about infidelity, and I told him to stop. Then crap hit the fan when I was on a Zoom call a month ago. I have a coworker who is Middle Eastern. He is the only other person of color in our department. He and I have almost no overlap. We don't work on projects together, we don't talk personally. The only links we have is the department group chat and one message between us almost 2 years ago which concerned a client. But my husband saw him on the Zoom call. He saw how my coworker laughed at one of my jokes. He wasn't the only one, and he immediately accused me of cheating with him. I was honestly floored. He demanded to see my phone, and he demanded a paternity test. We got in a huge fight, and he left. I tried calling, and his friend answered. He said that my husband would only be willing to talk once I have put in the work to build up the trust and do a paternity test. He would only be available for questions regarding the test. I was honestly so mad, and I was done. I wanted nothing to do with him anymore. And honestly, at this point, I did the test mainly so he couldn't dispute paternity because once again, I freaking knew he was the father. The results came in and my husband is the father. The same day, I told him that I wanted to separate. He started crying and begging. He apologized for how he went about it. I told him that I needed time. He said he would set up a session with a counselor, and I told him okay. Now I'm sitting here, and I honestly don't think that I can find it in my heart to forgive him. It's one thing to ask for a test, it's another thing for him to treat me like lying scum. F you, Stefan. And now in the comments, my cousin's husband accused her of cheating throughout her second pregnancy. He claimed their blonde daughter was half Japanese. Guess who let it slip during the separation that he was spending Father's Day with his other daughter? The one that was born between my cousin's 2 kids. He might be insecure, projecting, or listening to the wrong person. In any case, do the counseling and see what happens. Yes, my father freaked out and projected hard when he left my mom, accusing her of everything that he was doing. Not always, of course. Sometimes people just get that nagging thing and can't drop it for other reasons. Often your energy and affection towards your partner drops off because you have a new baby and it's all going there. Things like that can affect people. Good people too. Is it possible? Yes. However, you need to be honest with yourself if you want to or you can. Some people just can't. In that case, it's best not to get stuck in a loop of trying with nothing changing. You also really need to figure out and work on the why he did what he did. Is he projecting on you and is the one cheating? What even got that idea in his head? He was absolutely ready to end the relationship by the sounds of it because he thought that you cheated. If you honestly don't think that you can find it in you to forgive him, then you might be wasting both of your times. Is he cheating? Or is he a racist, upset about his child's skin? ¿Por qué no los dos? Equally valid and equally depressing. I hope OP gets through this. Take the fact this starts with X with a grain of salt. Now, my ex-wife did great being raised with a single parent, much better than she would have with a father who assumed that she was an affair baby. I'm just showing you some options. Sometimes life with someone who doesn't trust you isn't worth it. My advice would be to tell him that you're going to the counselor to facilitate peaceful co-parenting, but the marriage is over. If you can't forgive him, don't waste time and emotional energy trying to force yourself. The treating you like trash is pretty disgusting. You have no guarantee he won't do it again if he gets upset. And now onto the update. I did end up going to several sessions with my ex, but honestly, his actions killed the love that I had for him. Especially because he was kind of sorry, but kept making excuses, saying BS that made my alarm bells sound, and who would have thought? I found several forums that he was active on that were sexist, racist, and homophobic. He had posted about our situation in a forum that was very incel-y. He referred to me in derogatory terms. People were telling him that I had roast beef, and that he was just stability, but I was looking for Chad cock. This made me sick to my stomach. I took screenshots and printed all the things out, and I got the screen grabs as well. I called our counselor and told them that we were done. Thanks for the service, but I'm gonna get a divorce. I met up with him. He was staying at his friend's place and I was at home. I got the information through his gaming PC. When we met up at his parents' house, I basically threw the folder to his feet and told him I was effing done. Cue crying and begging. I told him no and that he makes me sick. He told me that he was weak, and I said that that was true. He didn't want to let go, and my mother-in-law had to intervene. Honest to God, that woman never took too much of a liking to me, but she really did shine through. She screamed at him, and when she saw the folder, she told him that this was not the behavior of a strong father. She told him he was nothing but a coward. My ex stood up and just screamed. He didn't say anything, just a horror movie scream. He punched a drywall and broke a hole into it, and then left. My mother-in-law was consoling me. She told me that she was sorry, and even though she personally does not like me, she respects me and appreciates everything I have done. We hashed out a plan. I want my daughter to have her father in her life, but with him basically being a bigot, we decided that I would go for full custody and would allow visitations if my mother-in-law was present and only at her house. Right now, we are dealing with the divorce process that he is contesting. What he is not contesting is custody. He seemingly does not want it and has been almost not involved at all with our daughter. He has texted me that if I don't take him back, he would not want custody. My mother-in-law has been an angel. She's been helping out when my family can't, and had actually helped with the legal proceedings by telling her son to not be an ass and giving testimonials. My ex had refused to pay any child support, but mother-in-law had actually taken that over. It is really difficult. I don't have much of a social life, and I am sleep deprived, but at least I'm happier than in my marriage. And now in the comments, be careful of your mother-in-law. I also had one who didn't like me but wanted to be all helpful and kind after the fact. But the truth is, she can't stand anyone her sons are with. Despite being an active reason for our divorce, she now wants to acknowledge how great I am? It's still manipulation. My guess is she just wants to ensure access to her grandchild. And OP says, she was not a just no mother-in-law. We just didn't get along because we never clicked. She always respected me, and I honestly don't care if she's just doing this out of selfish reasons or out of the goodness of her heart. She is helping when I need it the most, and I'm happy to have her in my daughter's life. OP's ex sounds like another guy that I read about here who torpedoed his marriage when he wanted his middle child's DNA tested because he didn't look like him. Basically, OP's ex here checked out of being a dad because his daughter didn't look like him. Mother-in-law is the best part. Even if she didn't like her daughter-in-law, she's aware that her son is an imbecile and ruined his own marriage. Quote, he texted me that if I don't take him back, he would not want custody. Shitty circular reasoning on the ex's part, and probably just as well. That kid hopefully takes after OP's side of the family in more than just looks, because that kind of stupidity needs to be buried deep. Seriously. If you don't take me back, I'll leave you and my child alone. Huh, you promise, dude? Right? I'd not want a racist around my darker-skinned daughter. No thanks. Our next post is titled, My female 25, girlfriend, female 30, has a secret room that I found. What do I do now? So I've been with my girlfriend for 5 years, and we've been living together for 3. I pay rent, as it is her house, and yesterday I discovered something strange. We wanted to replace the floor, as it's scraped and uneven, with new hardwood flooring, and immediately my girlfriend was acting strange about it. She wanted me out of the house and insisted that she would call someone, even though I knew a good contractor that could help us. It was on the far side of the house, in a neglected room, so I never really had a reason to go in there. My girlfriend had a carpet over everything and kept it clean regardless. Anyway, she told me she'd have someone come tomorrow and went out for a few hours to help her brother with his car. Me, wanting to be helpful, went to clear everything out of the room for the floor person. I removed the carpet, and lo and behold, I see grooves in the floor along with a fold-out handle. At this point, I'm a little bit freaked out, as I knew nothing about this room, and I wondered if my girlfriend even knew about it. I pulled the latch and looked in to see a ladder. It didn't look old, but went down at least 10 feet, or so I'm guessing. On the back of the door was a note written in my girlfriend's handwriting, a note about the last time that it was checked, about 3 years ago. So now I know for sure that she knew about it, but why didn't she tell me? Why was she so secretive about it? I really want to go down there, but I don't know if I should. She's going to be gone for a couple of more hours, so I feel like now is the time. And now in the comments, did you ever see the episode of Malcolm in the Middle where Hal and Lois find an extra bathroom in the house and don't tell the kids out of fear for them trashing it? It's kinda like that. I think they kept it as a storage in the end. Maybe girlfriend did the same here. They cleared it out, never told anyone about it, and then stacked boxes every time they left it, making it look like it was still being used for storage. If there's a bathroom down there, it possibly leads to a bigger space/apartment. I'm not a fan of snooping on partners, but if it's unsafe, then why be so hush-hush about it? Honestly, I'd feel obligated to check at that point, because it's starting to seem like creepy horror film territory. Does it seem like something she'd be embarrassed about? Is she normally an open and honest person in the relationship? Is she easily embarrassed by small things? Unfortunately, I can't really think of a reason to hide this unless something more nefarious is going on. I hate to think that, but this is just weird. And now on to the update. Hello, I'm alive. Thank you for everyone who worried about me and asked if I was okay. I was worried that my girlfriend would come home and see me down there, so I covered it up and left without going further down. Also, here is a picture of it. It is just a bathroom by the looks of it, so no gigantic surprises really. In the picture, I stepped down onto the ladder for a better view in case you're wondering. My girlfriend was tired when she came home, but didn't really say much. I panicked a little when she went towards the room, but she thanked me for moving stuff. I don't think she suspects me, but it's hard to tell with her. I also moved some stuff back into the room so it would be less obvious. I texted my mom about the weird room, and she told me to not go down there because I could die or get stuck. I insisted, however, and although she wasn't happy, she promised she would call the cops if I didn't respond to her in 2 hours after I told her that I'd be going. She'd also come to the house after me. You can never be too careful. I waited until my girlfriend was asleep, and I slipped out of the room. I really wanted to go earlier, but I wanted to be able to have a lot of time. As my mum suggested, I tucked my phone in my phone purse and tied some rope around it. I then lowered it down to the bottom, and I called it with my home phone in the kitchen. It rang, so I assumed service would work down there. I climbed down there, and big surprise, it was a bathroom. As some of you pointed out, it was clean, but not super clean. I didn't notice anything suspicious. The toilet flushed and the electricity worked. It seemed maintained. I was curious about the door, however. I thought that it may lead to storage, but it led to another room. The room was covered in survival bunker stuff, medical kits, books, a huge box filled with rations, gallons of water, and a cot. It looked newish, too. Some of this stuff seemed heavy, so I don't know how she would have carried it down a ladder. unless there's another entrance that I don't know about. I guess she could have carried it in a backpack, but it would be difficult. And also, considering how much stuff there was, when would she have time? My girlfriend leaves really early in the morning, so I guess she could have gone in around then, but still. There was a small metal door in the wall. I looked inside, and the interior was covered in cobwebs. It looked like a crawl space. I decided to avoid going in there for now. Anyway, besides that, there was nothing suspicious. I turned off the lights and went back up. I told my mum that I was alive and I went to bed. The next day, my girlfriend cancelled the flooring because the guy she called said that it would be more expensive than expected. I don't know if this is true. Nothing else has really happened, but it has me thinking. Did my girlfriend hide the room from me because she wanted to survive alone? Should I confront her on it? I've kept all of this secret, and it's been painful. I want there to be another reason for hiding it, but I can't think of any. I don't think that I can update on here again, so tell me if there is a more appropriate subreddit. And now in the comments, she likely hasn't told you because she's afraid that she'll be mocked. She has a survival bunker under her house. Most people would probably make a comment about breaking out the tinfoil or something like that. Also, the more people that know about the room, the more people are going to flock there and expect shelter. This puts the security and supply assurance at risk. I have a friend who has major anxiety over things apocalyptic. It stresses her out so much, her therapist encourages her to do doomsday prep. She has all kinds of kits, disaster gear, and food stored. It helps her deal with her anxiety. I'm wondering if this situation is similar. OP, you must ask her, and please update us in this subreddit. We can't just miss out on the ending here. Your girlfriend is a survivalist. It's not that she doesn't trust you, it's that telling you means that you might tell other people, and her survivability becomes compromised in an emergency as other people would go to her for her stash. If you're okay with that kind of thing, look into it and slowly express your interest to her and build a bug-out bag of your own. This is along with my thinking. She might also be slightly ashamed or embarrassed. I think showing interest in it would help the most. Is it odd? Heck yeah. But is it super concerning? No, not really. Show interest and I'm sure that she'll let you into her little world. And OP hasn't posted since finding the dungeon 6 months ago. She dead. This is no bunker, it's a tomb. OP before the girlfriend finds out? Some people don't want to be outed as survivalists, I think. When my husband and I were first house hunting, we went to a house that had this little Alice in Wonderland style door in the back of the master closet. I dropped to my knees, crawled through the door, and found the most luxurious home office that I'd ever seen in a normal house. I still lament about not buying that house, and I still talk about how that would have been my survival room when the in-laws come for long visits, when the kids have too many friends over, when the Yankees play the Red Sox. Our next story is titled, "For the past year, I've had this flirting thing with a manager at a coffee shop, and she finally gave me her number." So every morning, I, 29 male, take my son to this small coffee shop to have breakfast before dropping him off at preschool. The same girl is always there in the mornings. She's the manager there, and we've chatted lots of times. I always thought that she was very beautiful, and once I started talking to her more, I realized that she is a sweet and friendly person. The first months were us talking and getting to know each other, her making conversations with my son. And then we started having these smiles around each other. Every time we come in, she takes over the counter to do our orders. She knows how I like my coffee and what kind of breakfast sandwiches my son wants. And the whole time we're smiling like idiots. We come after school sometimes, and it's not too busy then, so she takes her break sitting with us. We joke around a lot, and one time I told her she looked amazing because she was dressed for an interview later that day. And yes, that made her blush. Then on Friday, she told me that she loved getting to know me and my son, and she hopes maybe I'd like to do something together outside of the coffee shop. I told her yes, absolutely. And then she gave me my coffee cup with her frickin' number, with 2 hearts on it. I have been riding on that high ever since. I'm definitely texting her today. All weekend I've been nervous about it and also really excited. And now in the comments, that's awesome, man. Go you. And OP says, thanks. It's been a long time having something like this. I wouldn't hesitate to text her. She took a huge leap, and with the amount of interactions you've had, I bet she waited all weekend long for a text or a call from you and didn't get anything. Also, given the history you share, I would make the date very special and not some simple meet and greet. The reason being that you already know that she likes you, and she likes you physically. So this date really is only necessary to seal the deal and make you both a legit couple. Also, think back to the conversations you had to remember what she likes and doesn't like. You have the advantage here in that you already know a ton about her, so you have a lot to work with date-wise. And OP says, yeah, I felt pretty bad about not texting her sooner. I made sure she knew it was because of nerves and not because I wasn't interested. She understood how I felt, and the good thing is that we've got a date. We wanted to make it simple, but not the cliché dinner and a movie. She loves going to the observatory, and you have a nice view of our city from there, so that's where we're going for a picnic date. This is a great date idea. You should also get her some spring flowers to spruce up the picnic date and obviously make her feel even more cared for. And OP says, inserting SpongeBob gif, write that down, write that down! And now on to the update. The date went so well. Luckily it wasn't too chilly for an outdoor picnic date where we agreed on. She looked so beautiful, guys. It felt like I could look at her all day. The whole thing was a blast. Also funny though, because the first date is usually about getting to know each other, but we already know so much about one another. We found stuff to talk about still, and we had such a wonderful time. She told me she's been having feelings for almost 7 months, and she hoped that maybe I was feeling the same way. We want this to be a serious, exclusive relationship, and this was a really great start to it. Literally, since the date ended, I had the biggest smile on my face until that night before bed, and then again in the morning when she texted me saying good morning, and she can't wait to see me right now, because my son and I have still gone to the coffee shop since our date. We went out for dinner last night, and this time it didn't feel awkward being more affectionate with each other. Her and I are gonna give it a few more dates before we tell my son about it. He likes her anyways, so hopefully that's a good sign. Thanks to all the romantics out there for your love. This has made me so happy, and I'm glad others were able to be happy about it too. And now in the comments, aww, I'm so glad that I happened to see your update. I'm so happy for you. What a great story. Keep us updated. And OP says, thank you. I'm excited to see where this goes. If all goes well, I've got to admit, it would be a pretty nice story to tell in the future. It is such a lovely story. And OP says, I'm definitely keeping the coffee cup she wrote her number on. Almost 7 years in, and I still have the Starbucks cup that my husband wrote his number on. It is precious. Hang on to it. I love this so much. I met my boyfriend of almost 5 years when I worked at a coffee shop. He was a regular there, and after about 5 or 6 months, I asked him out. Now that is how you ask out a service worker. You don't. I went to a technology institute for 2 years. It had one bar that we frequented quite heavily. On our very last day of school, as we knew we wouldn't be going back ever again, I was several beers into the evening when I realized that the bar had been closed for an hour, and I was basically at the staff end of season party. Drunk me figured that I didn't belong there, and against everyone's objections, I stumbled out to the bus stop to go home. I was waiting for the bus for 10 to 15 minutes maybe, and then the main bartender pulled up in a cab and said, "Don't be stupid, get in." So I did. I spent 2 days at her place before making it home. We've been married now for 22 years. And that's where I'm going to end out the episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought about it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.